there's a lot of people using AI to refine their copy. But then number two, we've seen a lot of people use it for making sense of the 1, 2, 3, 4 million ideas they have in their heads. And we always have these up and running. So we've seen people utilize that a lot.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I got my guest all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, Joe Kimemia. What's up, Joe?
All good, Nathan. How's it going?
It's going good. So for my listeners out there, you would never know that it's, 6 p.m. your time
It's
over there?
actually 10 minutes past 6. I'm all the way in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay, all right. And for the listeners that may not have either followed the YouTube, but you kind of dropped some diamonds before, but can you tell the listeners who you are and what you do?
All right. Thank you. And good to be on this platform. First, shout out to you and the good work you're doing here. So for your listeners, the listeners of the end-up environment, my name is Joe Kimemia. I work with a marketing agency in Nairobi, Kenya. Our group is primarily to support businesses that are looking to build, scale, and ensure they are very profitable within the African market. That's primarily the work you're doing, and it's heavily through digital communication and of late tech integration and build.
Wow, that's a great industry. I'm so glad I'm in that industry myself. But you said African, and I'm in America. So we're going to talk about how our worlds collide here in a little bit. But just for those first time listeners out there, let me say thank you. I don't want to forget my housekeeping. Welcome to the show. If you love what you hear, please subscribe, rate, review. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Also, like and share. Also, comment down below. We'll love to hear your thoughts. Love to know your experiences as we talk through these things. And for my worldwide listeners, for returning, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, and thank you. Couldn't do it without you. All right, my man. Now, I always want to make sure I get my housekeeping done before we get right into it. So today's topic is the future of marketing and AI's impact on strategies for these things. And so, Joe, I know you serve a population in Africa that is completely different than America, but yet not much different, because people think, oh, it's Africa. There's not technology. There's not scalability or opportunity out there. And for the folks that don't know the opportunities to what's going on and AI's impact, can you please give them like a baseline to the rundown of what's happening, like say for you and your company, and how you help those organizations you work with?
All right. Good point. And even before we speak about what we're doing here, I'll give you something we've noticed in the market in Nairobi, across East Africa. When I'm driving from my home to the office, it's quite a distance, say what, 10, 15 kilometers. What we're noticing lately is quite a number of billboards, out of home advertising. And every once in a while, you'll notice quite a big hyphen on the copy, which is very synonymous with ChatGPT copywriting. And that goes into, speaking to a conversation we had with our colleagues lately. People are using AI quite a lot in this market, and for a couple of areas, or rather in a couple of areas. One, copywriting. Of course, there's still the old school version of using AI where people are just using it to check their email grammar and everything. But the people who've taken it a bit higher, quite a lot of copywriting. And then in our case at our place, we've been using it for a lot of content generation and production. So case in point, content that would have taken 3, 4, 5 working days to produce, video content, and a budget of say 1,000, 2,000 US dollar to produce, is now getting produced with a $20, $30 subscription account through AI and produced in under 20 minutes, and we are up and running. So I think picking up from our conversation last time, what we are seeing at the moment is a couple of divides of people using AI. those who are using AI to, yes, enrich what they are already good at and collaborate and using as a bouncing boat. And then there is a whole other crop of people who are then using AI in this region to build new products, get into new environments that they probably didn't even know much about. But then AI becomes a very easy platform to work with. We are actually part of the people who've done that. So lately, we've built our technology side of business quite a bit. And we'll get to speak about that now and also in our subsequent conversations. But we've gotten to a point where previously to brief a development consultant or a developer on a project that we are working on, quite some time, because then we have to research on it and make sure we fully understand what you're briefing. But right now, it becomes very easy to break down an idea and have a pretty good overview and an explainer on what it is we are looking to build by leveraging AI. So by the time you're getting to brief your developer or your content production team, you already have a good idea of what kind of output you're expecting. So that one cuts down on the time that's spent building, but also ensures the efficiency and the output is almost as good as what you briefed in. So there's quite some work happening here. It's quite quite a good time to be in a marketing environment.
You hit on so many different things that I love because just even pre-pandemic, folks weren't embracing social media. TikTok blew up. Now AI is blowing up and people are like, wait, what's going on? But we know that AI has been in the background for a little bit. Now
Yeah.
it's coming to the forefront. And like you said, people are using it to see the hyphens in any sort of copy. You're like, you didn't create that.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the strategies and what I was going to get into with new clientele versus old clientele, are you having any issues of like getting them converted to use AI?
Not quite. In fact, a majority of the clients we're working with, all people interacting with in the market, are very embracing of AI. Even though there is that bit of reducing costs and time by using AI, the one thing we are seeing with most of them is there's also quite a lot of learning on their side, because AI without a good brief or without a good idea will just uh, um, a couple of years back, used to be what? Was that giggle? Garbage in, garbage out. So without proper engineering of your prompts, or without you knowing what you're feeding to the AI, then you will obviously get bad output. So we are seeing a lot of embracing with our clients, but we are even more so seeing a lot of learning on their side on how to use AI, but also how to brief in projects that would then be ran with AI, but also, and most importantly, very quite big willingness to try out AI-led production.
What do you see people using on your end with the clients that you work with? Where do you see the AI really making a big stronghold at?
All right. So quite a bit of copywriting. There's a lot of people using AI to refine their copy. But then number two, we've seen a lot of people use it for making sense of the 1, 2, 3, 4 million ideas they have in their heads. And we always have these up and running. So we've seen people utilize that a lot, myself included. Just chat with your LLM and share all the different ideas and then make sense of them into one clean doc, and it becomes way easier to execute. So copywriting, making sense of strategies, um, in a way helping you harmonize your thoughts. But we've also seen quite a bit of that in lead generation. Couple of products we've seen being built in the market to enable that through AI. And most interestingly, the other day I bumped on to someone who's using AI not to generate leads but to make money instantly. And not one, I think I've seen a couple of them selling different products. One of them has been generating a lot of stock content, videos and images through AI, and then package that into different contexts, say Islamic based kind of stock portfolio, 10, 15 images, package that and sell to the market around Islamic holidays. Hey, you're looking to use this kind of African-based Islamic images for your upcoming holiday and enrich your creatives. Pay me $9 and you'll get this. And people actually building quite some small but well-structured businesses around that, and they're picking up pretty well.
That's fascinating. Joe, I don't think I'm horrible at giving proper introductions, but I failed to tell the listeners, along with already what you said you do, but how long have you been in business and been doing marketing, and what led you into this field?
All right, all right. Um, I've been in the marketing space for 10 years now, and for me, this was more of a passion. 5 years ago, one day I woke up and decided, it's time to quit employment in a way. The idea then wasn't to, skip the 9 to 5, because then when you get into the entrepreneurship side, then that's a 9 to 9 every single day. So I've been in a space for 10 years and 5 years building a creative agency. And ideally, our driver is to just make sure we support as many people who are either doing business in the African region or building businesses in Africa and either selling locally or exporting to other regions. Support them with building beautiful and successful brands.
I want it really to show people in this podcast, because coming to Nairobi and talking with you, there was like no difference in like when you were like, hey, look, we got a situation, there's a holiday, it went down. I want to show people that, look, there is so much happening and everything's going digital. Like everyone at some point in time, in which I asked you about your background later on, but I wanted to kind of bring it back to the center of AI. Your passion and the stuff that you're doing, I think is phenomenal. And you just started. But when you have a tool like AI, it levels the playing field for you to now you to compete, because now like the big or powerful agency or companies that used to be able to be in the space, now you get to compete with them because you're somewhat using the same tools.
That's
Does
that's
that get?
that's
I was yeah. Go ahead. I was gonna say, like, is that accurate?
That's very accurate. When we were starting back then, at least on our agency side, that's 5 years ago, we obviously had quite a couple of agencies who are looking up to. But then with AI, and especially towards the end of last year and this year, then it's almost as though there's quite some leveling of the playground to quite some extent. And what we have loved really is that now we can competitively or easily compete with all these other players in the space, because then we are all getting to embrace and use AI at the same time. The only difference then becomes who puts in quite the work to understand and make the best out of it, and who persists in that phase a bit longer. So we've seen quite the impact, and we are able to then compete way better. We've had conversation with people starting agencies as early as this year, and they're also able to get quite a number of clients right now, because then they're able to compete with almost every other production agency and advertising agency in a competitive way. But of course, I'm always telling people AI and my friends and people we network with, AI will be good for brainstorming and bouncing off ideas and building, but then we have to be very aware that it will only give us output that's as good as what we have in our minds. So if you've got quite a good brief or quite a good dream on what you want to achieve at that particular moment with a project, then you're able to get pretty good output. But if the strategy is still not clear or refined or is not great, AI will still feed you with quite some output, but won't be the best. Good strategies plus AI, phenomenal output.
Like you said, it's good for ideas. the kind of like baseline stuff, but maybe not implementation or execution yet. But you're saying people are brand new to the game using AI and they're getting clients. So when we talk about the future of marketing and AI's impact on how you use the tool, it seems like it can be a game changer for you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Not can be, it already is. We are in the phase of building a couple of tech solutions, which we'll speak with you about as soon as they're ready. And we've utilized AI quite a bit to make sense of the project. In a way, almost test run these projects before we can even ship them out. And so it's, yes, quite a game changer from the building side, but also from our client consulting side.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I've used it quite a bit to help generate um, some tools as well, and even enhance some of the offerings I've offered before and qualifying. It makes things so much easier. And so, Joe, I just wanted to share with the listeners on the other side of the world that you're doing similar things to what I'm doing. You work with government, private, small, large. You work with all types of companies, right?
All types of companies.
Yeah,
We do
see?
quite some work there.
I just don't want y'all sleeping, but I'm also not trying to say everyone need to go out to Nairobi, Kenya either. Joe, for the folks that want to learn more about you and to find you, where can they find you at?
All right. So, Shupav Group, our agency is available across all social media. That's at Shupav Group. That's SHUPAV Group. And via our website, that's shupav.com. We're actually in the phase of rebuilding that website to also showcase a couple of the new things we have in the market. We should be up and running in 2 weeks' time. So for anyone who would like to see more of what we're doing in the great city of Nairobi, head out to our social media or check out our website.
Love it. Absolutely. I'll make sure to put it in the show notes for the podcast and for YouTube. It be in the description. So check it out. And Joe, I want to say thanks again for joining. I gotta have you back on again.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation. By the time we meet
Uh,
next, we'll have quite a couple of products to look at.
AI and marketing in action in Nairobi, Kenya, which is East Africa. So I don't know if it's the furthest, if that's the furthest East Africa spot. But I will say, y'all, like, don't think like, oh, this doesn't apply, or I'm ahead. Hey, you might be behind if you're not using it. Don't be scared. Start now, uh, before it gets too late. So I want to say thank you for joining the show. If you haven't checked Joe out, also shared the video in the description where he talked about whether or not AI is going to take his job. It was pretty good. So until next time, y'all, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. We're out.